We start, though, with President Trump heading back to the White House just within the last hour after campaigning here in Atlanta today. In the last hour, President Trump finished a lengthy pitch to African-American voters in Atlanta, forming a campaign unit he's calling Black Voices for Trump.
And he spoke to a spirited crowd inside the Georgia World Congress Center. Doug Richards was in the room with him. And Doug joins us now live with details. Doug?
Well, certainly on the face of it, it would appear, at least based on conventional wisdom, that President Trump and African-American voters would be an ill fit, given 50 years of voting history and given a lot of polling data. But Trump and his African-American backers here in Atlanta and elsewhere who gathered here say that it is overdue for that to change and for black voters to actually start looking at Republican candidates, including President Trump, to actually examine what they've done for voters and to choose differently. Trump drew close to 400 people in a room at the World Congress Center, many of them colorfully dressed in gear emblazoned with Make America Great Again logos. They talked up the president's accomplishments in the economy and in prison reform. The president told the crowd that American cities run by Democratic mayors have eroded African-American communities and have failed their people. President Trump also talked a lot about how the economy has roared during his presidency. He's also talked about initiatives to reform criminal justice, which has allowed a lot of nonviolent criminal offenders to come home and, as Republicans say, be home with their families by Thanksgiving. Many of them, of course, are African Americans. So the Trump pitch was pretty hard. It went for more than an hour here. He had a number of supporting cast members, African American businessmen and that sort of thing. And we will have more on that, and you'll actually hear from the president and some of his supporters tonight on 11 Alive News at 6. Back to you.
Doug, we will see you at 6. A lot to talk about. In the meantime, President Trump won Georgia by about 5% in 2016, with around 211,000 votes separating him and Hillary Clinton. An NBC exit poll found just 9% of African Americans in Georgia voted for President Trump in that election in 2016, with higher support among African American men than women. An NBC News poll from just last month showed 51% of overall voters in Georgia disapprove of the way President Trump is handling his job. That included 81% of African American voters. We saw protesters outside the Whitley Hotel earlier today in Buckhead, where the president attended a fundraiser for Senator David Perdue. The protesters carrying signs mentioning the impeachment inquiry into the president.
In just 12 days, Democratic presidential hopefuls will be here in Atlanta for the MSNBC debate. It's being held inside the Tyler Perry studios on the Oprah Winfrey soundstage, and it is a nod again to the importance of the African-American vote in the 2020 election. Of the 17 Democratic presidential candidates still in the race, 10 have qualified to take the stage November 20th. Candidates have to fulfill 2 requirements to take part. They must have contributions from 165,000 unique donors, and they must be polling high enough in either early nominating states or national surveys. Coming up at 5:30, we're talking with 11 Alive political analyst Dr. Andra Gillespie about the president's visit today, the Democratic debate, and why Georgia could be a crucial state in the 2020 race. You can listen to the president's full speech today and find out more about the Democratic presidential candidates. You can check out the politics section on 11alive.com.